Can you hear it? That deafening silence of exhaustion screaming from within? This isn't the fatigue of a long workday. It's a soul-crushing emptiness, the realization that your spirit has been bled dry by emotional parasites. Let's walk the bustling yet hauntingly lonely streets of Sao Paulo. Meet Tiago, the man everyone wanted in their circle. He was the safe harbor for every friend's heartbreak, the interest-free bank for the lazy, and the bottomless pit for every neighbor's grievance. Tiago believed this was kindness. He believed this was connection. Until one rain-drenched night on Avenida Paulista. As his business crumbled and his heart shattered, Tiago reached for his phone. He scrolled through hundreds of names he had once saved, only to be met with the icy silence of read receipts and hollow excuses. They were too busy enjoying their lives, using the very energy he had sacrificed on their behalf. The cold, hard truth is this. In this world, kindness without boundaries isn't called saintliness, it's called weakness. When you are always available, you become cheap. When you are too close, you become invisible. Distance isn't an escape, it is a sacred cleansing ritual. Today, I am not here to tell you to be kinder. I am here to teach you how to disappear. I am here to show you how to forge steel walls of Stoic wisdom and how to step back, so you can become a beast of absolute authority within your own silence. Welcome to the journey of reclaiming your Invictus soul. Have you ever stopped to wonder why the most precious things in this journey are always just out of reach for the masses? In Brazil, we are raised in a culture of warmth, where the samba never stops and turning down a weekend barbecue is seen as a social sin. We are taught to be vibrant, to be present, to say sim to every single demand. But I need you to pause for a second and look at this grim reality. Whatever is found in abundance becomes cheap. Look at a Ferrari cruising down Avenida Paulista. You'll never see them running commercials during soap operas, nor will you see them begging anyone to buy them. They don't scream for attention because their very presence is a privilege. Now look at how you've been treating yourself. You reply to WhatsApp messages in 2 seconds flat. You show up to every happy hour even when your soul is screaming for rest. You are always available to fix problems for people who wouldn't spend a second thinking about yours. Without even realizing it, you've slapped a clearance bin label on your own soul. You've become a commodity, easily replaced and impossible to truly value. Stoic philosophy teaches us a vital lesson. True power lies in self-mastery, and self-mastery begins with knowing how to disappear. When you start to pull back, when you stop explaining yourself and start guarding your time like the treasure it is, an aura of mystery begins to surround you. The crowd will start to murmur, "What is he doing? What kind of empire is he building that he no longer needs our validation?" Your absence creates a vacuum of power, making every time you do appear an event, rather than a habit. Remember, the strong never ask for permission to be respected. They create scarcity so that the world has no choice but to crave them. Did you know that right now, a thief is lurking in your living room? He isn't after your jewelry or your TV. He's stealing something infinitely more valuable, your destiny. The Emperor Marcus Aurelius left us a chilling warning. Your soul takes on the color of your thoughts. Now take a hard look at the colors others are pouring into your mind every single day through conversations that seem harmless. Picture this, a beautiful, sunny afternoon at a cafe in Curitiba. You sit down with an old friend. For an entire hour, they pour out their bitterness, the falling value of the real, a corrupt system, or the toxic boss who crushed their talent. You sit there, nodding, trying to be empathetic. But look closer. When you stand up to leave, your footsteps feel heavy like lead. The sun outside suddenly looks gray. Your grandest dreams? They suddenly feel like a joke. This is the mind virus. It spreads through words, seeps in through the eyes, and dismantles your mental immune system faster than any plague ever could. The brutal truth is, you don't have the power to change them, but they have more than enough power to drag you into the mud they call life. They are frequency parasites, people who only find peace when they see others drowning in the same despair. Keeping your distance isn't an act of selfishness. It's putting on a mask to protect your soul from the toxins surrounding you. Do not allow your inner temple to become a landfill for those who have no intention of cleaning up their own mess. Remember, an apex predator never stands in line with those who only know how to whimper about their chains. Are you brave enough to vanish? To let the world forget you exist for a single moment, just so you can find the soul you lost along the way? In the suffocating noise of cities like Rio de Janeiro, where every ping from WhatsApp is a shackle around your neck and every party invite is a form of silent coercion, I want to introduce you to a ritual of pure power, social fasting. Just as you starve your body to heal and detoxify, your mind needs a purge, to strip away the opinions, the drama, and the clutter that was never yours to begin with. I remember Lucas, one of my students. He was a slave to social expectation. He was trapped in dozens of useless group chats and attended every weekend barbecue out of a paralyzing fear of being forgotten. When I challenged him to disappear completely for 30 days, to cut the cord on every shallow connection, he was terrified. During the first week, he crawled with the dread of being invisible, haunted by the thought that the world was moving on without him. But by the second week, a miracle happened. The silence didn't kill him, it resurrected him. Instead of wasting 3 hours a day on fake smiles and hollow small talk, Lucas spent that time sweating in the gym and mastering the skills he had only ever dreamed of. He realized he wasn't lonely, he was upgrading his internal operating system. When you stop obsessing over what everyone else is doing, you finally realize what you need to do. Do not fear the silence. Within the fortress of privacy, the strong don't feel a void, they feel the weight of a weapon the crowd will never understand: absolute self-mastery. Have you ever stood before the ocean at sunset and watched the tide pull back? As the violent waves recede, they unveil a truth that was hidden beneath the surface. They don't leave behind shimmering shells. They leave behind debris, broken coral, and the raw, naked reality of the seabed. Your life is exactly the same. In Brazil, we worship the heat of the crowd. We pride ourselves on the abraço, the passionate embrace, and a contact list that never ends. But listen to me, that heat is often nothing more than a fog, blinding you to the grim reality of your connections. Look at Ricardo, a flashy entrepreneur in Rio de Janeiro. When he threw lavish poolside barbecues, he had 100 brothers willing to die for him. But then Ricardo chose a Stoic experiment. He stopped the invites, he stopped the check-in texts, and he retreated into a tactical silence to focus on his life's work. In just 30 days, 95 of those people vanished, like sea foam dissolving into the air. They weren't angry, they just forgot him. Because Ricardo was no longer their source of entertainment or convenience. At first, Ricardo felt the sting of betrayal, but then he felt a liberation he had never known. Do not be saddened when the filter of life starts removing the crowd. This is not a loss, it is a sacred purification. Seneca once reminded us, quality matters more than quantity. The 5 people who remain, the ones who dare to knock on your door just to ask, "Are you okay?" without an invoice attached, those are your Invictus. They love your raw, unfiltered self, not the flashy shadow you worked so hard to build. Keeping your distance is the only way to find the pure gold hidden in a sea of fake brass. Don't mistake distance for isolation. You don't need a remote, snow-capped mountain to find it. True power isn't about where you are, it's about who you are in the dead center of the storm. Look at Marcus Aurelius, the greatest emperor of Rome. He didn't have the luxury of solitude. He was surrounded by sycophants, cutthroat politicians, and hostile armies waiting for him to stumble. Yet, in the heart of that chaos, he built his inner citadel, an impenetrable sanctuary within his own mind. Now, imagine yourself in a high-stakes meeting, 30 floors above the streets of Sao Paulo. Your co-workers are at each other's throats. The air is thick with petty drama and egos screaming just to be heard. Instead of letting your heart rate spike with their noise, I want you to take a spiritual step back. Observe them like a scientist peering through a microscope at a colony of frantic ants. You see their anger, you hear their sharp words, but they cannot pierce the walls of your fortress. You're still smiling, still nodding out of courtesy, but your soul? It's traveling in another dimension, a place of absolute silence and cold, cutting clarity. This is the art of being absent while present. You refuse to hand over the keys to your emotional gates. When you master this citadel, you become invisible to psychological attacks. You are there to observe, to understand, but you are never assimilated. This isn't indifference, it is the ultimate preservation of an Invictus. The world can crumble outside your gates, but inside your fortress, serenity is king. Have you ever stopped to wonder why the immortal rhythms of samba or the business strategies that shake global markets never, ever, begin in a crowded Rio bar or a neon-lit party? The answer is a truth the masses are terrified to face. Genius only speaks when the world goes quiet. In the restless, never-sleeping energy of cities like Sao Paulo, we are drowning in white noise, a toxic cocktail of other people's opinions, prejudices, and borrowed dreams. When you are always in the middle of the crowd, your mind stops being a temple and starts becoming a chaotic marketplace. You aren't thinking, you are simply reacting to the noise. Look at how greatness is forged. Brazil's most legendary artists and visionary entrepreneurs didn't find their spark in the roar of applause. They found it in the haunting, bone-deep hours of solitude. That is when they dared to disconnect from the world to reconnect with their own internal frequency. Distance is not isolation. It is the oxygen your clarity needs to breathe. Seneca was right. You cannot find wisdom if you lack the courage to face yourself. Without that distance, you're nothing but a blurry photocopy, a hollow echo of society's mediocre standards. Strategic distance creates the buffer zone where million-dollar ideas take root and thrive. In that stillness, the whisper of your Invictus soul becomes a brilliant manifesto, guiding you to heights the world can't even see. Don't fear the silence. Fear living a life that is nothing more than an echo of someone else's thoughts. Are you wearing a crown of thorns on your head and lying to yourself by calling it kindness? In Brazil, we are raised to worship the everyday saints, those who sacrifice themselves until there is nothing left just to keep others happy. But listen to me, there is a deadly, razor-thin line between being a person of character and being a person of weakness. If you don't recognize that line, you will soon become nothing but a pile of ash, burned out by those who only know how to take. Imagine a bombero, a firefighter, standing before a raging inferno in a favela. If he charges into that thick, toxic smoke without an oxygen mask, simply because the crowd outside is screaming for him to do something, he isn't a hero. He is just the next victim waiting to be rescued. He can't save anyone when his own lungs are being charred by the heat. Yet that is exactly how you are living. You are charging into everyone else's storm while your own interior is crumbling. You are trying to heal the world while you are still bleeding out. Stoic philosophy does not teach suicidal sainthood. Marcus Aurelius never burned his empire to the ground just to keep the lazy warm. Strategic distance is your oxygen mask. It is the time you take to refuel, to fortify your fortress, and to reclaim your clarity. Only when you are strong, only when you are full from within, do you have the true power to help the right person at the right time in the right way. Stop turning your life into a tragedy just to entertain selfish people. And Invictus understands. Compassion without boundaries isn't virtue. It is a suicide disguised as morality. Do you know the ghost that haunts every heart in Brazil? It isn't poverty, it's the paralyzing fear of being labeled antisocial. In a culture where your worth is measured by the number of passionate embraces and endless weekend barbecues, choosing to stand alone feels like a form of social suicide. But let me reveal a dark secret shared by those who truly hold the reins of power. True liberation only begins when you no longer need the presence of others to feel whole. Picture a lavish party in a penthouse overlooking Leblon, Rio de Janeiro. Amidst the thumping bass and the desperate gazes searching for someone, anyone, to fill their inner void, there is a man standing quietly on the balcony. He holds a glass of water, his face calm, his eyes reflecting the distant city lights. He isn't rushing to approach anyone. He isn't trying to force his way into a conversation to prove his importance. He smiles at the world, but he does not cling to it. While everyone else is exhausting themselves to maintain their social masks, shivering at the thought of being ignored, this man radiates an invisible authority that draws every eye in the room. Why? Because he is the only one in that room who doesn't need a single ounce of validation to know he exists. He is powerful because he has mastered the greatest fear of mankind: solitude. The philosopher Epictetus taught us, freedom is needing nothing external to be okay. The moment you stop fearing abandonment, you officially end your slavery to the applause and the nods of the crowd. You are no longer a puppet dancing on the strings of social expectation. A true Invictus doesn't seek connection to fill a hole. They stand firm in their own stillness, and it is that very self-sufficiency that makes the world crave to enter their circle. Don't fear being the outsider. Fear becoming the person who cannot survive without the clapping of strangers. To all the Invictus souls, the unyielding warriors standing on the threshold of transformation, etch this into your spirit. Distance is never the act of a coward fleeing from life. On the contrary, it is the strategic retreat of a general, standing atop the peak of wisdom, gaining a panoramic view of the battlefield of fate. It is the moment you stop being a pawn pushed around by the chaotic hands of the crowd, and start becoming the master architect of the temple of your own mind. You aren't abandoning the world, you are simply exercising your ultimate right, to curate who and what is worthy enough to step through the golden gates of your soul. The moment this melody fades, I challenge you to perform an act of true power. Turn off that phone, the one buzzing frantically with meaningless notifications. Step out onto the balcony, stare into the city's distant horizon, or simply sit in the darkness of your room for 10 quiet minutes. Do not reply to a single text. Do not explain your silence to a single person. In those 10 minutes, breathe in the air of primordial freedom. A place where there are no expectations, no petty dramas, and absolutely no noise from the outside world. This is the first brick of your inner citadel. Build it starting today with the discipline and the pride of a sovereign being. Because only when you master the distance do you truly master your destiny. Do not let the flame of Invictus within you be snuffed out by the mediocre breath of the crowd. Shine in the stillness, and the world will have no choice but to look upon you with a new kind of respect. Welcome home. Welcome back to yourself.